Good morning, everyone. And a big good morning and hello to everybody joining us from all around the world on our live stream. Happy Sunday. Happy beautiful weather here in Kansas City. I think we're going to have upper 60s or something like that. Congratulations to any of you folks who are KU fans. They had a pretty incredible win yesterday. Congratulations to anybody here who has taken stock in Mucinex. I think you're going to make a lot of money this year. And just happy day, happy opportunity to come together again today in Sangha. The season of giving is certainly here, isn't it? Of course, Thanksgiving, Giving Tuesday that they have, Friendsgiving, Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, so many wonderful teachings on giving. There's the great story, the gift of the Magi, all those little phrases to quote, I believe, St. Francis of Assisi, it's in the giving that we receive. What's that little book? Give a mouse a cookie. So all these teachings on giving for this giving season. So oftentimes the teachers here at Temple Buddhist Center, primarily, Robert and I talk a lot about gratitude. And talk a lot about gratitude as a way of life. And so today, I would like to focus on the first of what are known as the 10 perfections. We mentioned some of them in our opening recitation. So generosity or giving. So that's the lesson or the invitation today is to explore this idea of giving. And I would like to share about giving as a way of life, giving as a path to awakening to our true nature, the truth of who we really are. Many folks are probably instantly thinking of giving in terms of sharing something physically, right? Giving a thing or giving money, tools or food, or whatever to another, giving this to another being. And yes, this of course certainly is one of the most literal aspects of giving. And it is very important. However, today I would like to explore some other aspects of giving, or what we refer to in the Buddhist tradition as dana, this act of generosity, this way of living your life. So let's begin our talk today about giving by looking at receiving. We'll start there. So awareness of how we receive is fertile ground for awakening. What do I mean when I say that? What I mean is that in our tradition, in our practice of self-inquiry and self-discipline, notice what comes up for you when you receive things. Awareness of how we receive can really help us bring deeper understanding into why this form does and says the things that it does, and to be on the lookout for when they come from a place of fear, hatred, delusion, so the three poisons, right? So looking at how we receive, notice, how do you feel or how do you behave when you are given something? So take, for example, we'll just pull one out of the hat here, a compliment. Let's say someone gives you a compliment. Do you deflect ever so just subtly? Do you demur? Are you suspicious of the motives, distrustful, or maybe even downright contradictory? No, I'm not a great person. Whatever the thing is that they're complimenting you on. I would suggest that anything other than a thank you is what we call selfing. In other words, It's egoic. What do I mean by that? Let's unpack that a little bit. Anything other than a thank you, I suggest, is selfing, or it's coming from an egoic state of mind, because when we block another person's expression of appreciation, recognition, or love, we are actually making it about ourselves. And this is what I mean by selfing. In other words, this is not giving others an opportunity to share something with you. You don't have to take what they are saying to heart. You have only to open your heart and allow the energy to pass through. If you cannot take a compliment, then you certainly cannot take a criticism, right? And there will be much wringing of hands, gnashing of teeth, and basically a lot of suffering. In other words, can you see past the words into the gift itself? Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh talks a lot about what we call deep listening. Deep listening has a little to do with the actual words, but it also incorporates just as much, if not more, of an emphasis on sensing the energy. Where is this coming from? What's the deeper transaction that is happening right here? So, for example, when people sometimes talk to me or Robert about, oh my gosh, there's so much going on, terrible things happening all around the world, one of the first things I ask them is that, is that actually happening for you right here, right now? What's really happening? Well, what's really happening is you're sitting in front of a plastic box looking at 10 billion pixels that are all changing colors. I'm not saying that these events are not occurring, but they're not your direct experience. They happened 3,000 miles away 3 weeks ago. If you are so moved to actually take action, then yes, hop a plane, fly to that country, and do everything you can to help those around you. But in the same way that is not our direct experience, this whole idea of looking more deeply and experiencing an interaction with another human being, because the holidays are here, Thanksgiving's coming, Christmas is coming, we're going to be around a lot of coworkers and family members and things like that. So in the same way, if you focus solely on the words, you're missing more than half of what's really going on here. Your direct experience may be the words, but it's also sensing the energy. Where is it coming from? Could it be someone just wants to connect with you, but they don't know how to find the words to do so? Can you feel that? When someone is connecting with you by bringing up something that is uncomfortable for you, can you sense and be present with that and realize that maybe this is just the first thing that popped in their head, and they're awkward with silence, and they're awkward with communicating with people, and they don't know how to or what the right thing is to say, so they blurt out something that's kind of difficult at the moment, right? But can you still sense their desire to connect with you? That's what's real. So I want to invite you to explore this area of practice, bringing a playful curiosity and awareness of how you receive anything, whether it is a compliment, a gift, or a criticism. And remember that one of the most skillful things that you can do is simply say thank you. I hear you. Thank you for sharing that with me. You don't need to debate. You don't need to criticize, correct. I mean, obviously, if they're, I am looking forward to seeing you at the party Thursday at 7, and the party's Friday at 8, you might go, oh, I am too, but actually the party, what I heard was Friday at 8. So there's little things that you can make a correction if it's very, very important, of course. So let's bring this now to the bigger topic of today, which is looking at giving. The Buddha emphasized the joy of giving. Dana is not meant to be obligatory or done reluctantly. Rather, and in the words of the Buddha, dana should be performed when the giver is delighted before, during, and after the giving. At its most basic level, dana in the Buddhist tradition means giving freely without expecting anything at all in return. Now, as a 2 on the Enneagram, and those of you who study the Enneagram, you understand what I'm talking about. Those of you that don't, the Enneagram is simply an ancient system for understanding conditioned patterns of speech and behavior, things that we say and we do habitually. So as a 2 on the Enneagram, I came to realize that there was a very subtle expectation on my part that I could earn people's love, respect, adoration by giving of myself completely. It's like the U2 song, right? Giving yourself away. Give yourself away. I'll spare you my rendition of it. So I realized that there was a subtle quid pro quo going on here. I would give of myself completely, but there was always this little expectation that if I give you this, I'm going to get something in return. So you see, it was not wholesome. It was not skillful. There was a selfing going on in this. It was not giving freely. I was expecting something back. There was an egoic state that brought about suffering for myself and for all of those around me. This suffering showed up in a number of different patterns. I would get upset when I didn't get that thing that I thought I was going to get by giving away my time, my talents, my energy, things, stuff, money, whatever it was that I was giving. If I didn't get what was in my mind, what I should be getting, oh, you're not really a good friend, or whatever the case might be. So you see, the practice is very, very subtle. And this is why we bring inquiry and self-discipline into our practice. Can you be aware of where this is coming from? And so I would give myself away. I would not get what I wanted back, and then there would be suffering for myself and those around me. However, even this is perfect. Why? Because eventually, if you are aware, those patterns will present themselves. Why does this person never come over anymore? Why does this person no longer talk to me? Why am I angry with so many of my friends and family? Boing, the light bulb goes on. Oh my gosh, what's the common denominator in all of this? It's Victor. It's the form we all call Victor. And what is it that is causing these problems? I could see as I take the noble one seat, and I spend time in meditation and I review, why did I say that? Why did I do this? Why did I automatically say, yes, I will come rake your yard for you? Not that raking someone's yard is a bad thing, but if I'm doing it because I'm expecting something in return, it's an opportunity for not only suffering, but also great awakening. So this act of giving is purely, when we are able to give freely, and it's in true dana, then we can give purely out of compassion and goodwill and the desire for someone else's well-being. Dana, or generosity, is really more about how we give than what we give. But the egoic mind is always at work. Oh, I'm not giving enough, or it's just a card. Gosh, what a pathetic thing to give. It's just, it's constantly moving the goalposts. We're never doing it right. But through generosity, we can cultivate a generous spirit which is not caught up in what we're giving. A generous spirit is not caught up in quantifying and qualifying. It is a whole way of living our life. We don't become generous in action. We simply become generosity itself. And so through generosity, we cultivate a generous spirit. Generosity of spirit will usually lead to generosity of action. So being a generous person is more important than any particular act of giving. After all, it is possible to give without it being a generous act. I've oftentimes talked about the panhandler, who is, laying on a bench, and I walk by, and if I give them a $5 bill because I feel pity for them, that they are somehow less than I am, that is not a generous act. But if I see someone and I give them a smile and I ask them if there's anything that I can do for them, and they say, hey, if you got $1, okay, just reach in and grab whatever's in my pocket and share it. There's no war. Oh, let's see, counting this, okay, 5, well, that's too much. Well, 3, oh, I don't know. He's probably got a car around the corner. He's just going to drink it anyway. All the machinations, all the battle that goes on, that's not generosity. And that is not a generous spirit. I'll give you another example that I watched the other day. I was watching Deepak Chopra was doing a talk, and he was talking, a lot of Buddhist traditions and practices, and he was talking about our attachment to belief systems. And this man struts up to the microphone during the Q&A, and he was kind of all puffed up, and he goes, so let me see if I got this straight. You believe that if we are attached to beliefs that we're going to suffer, and so that's wrong. Is that right? And Deepak's like, right. And he goes, I rest my case, and then walks back. And everybody's looking around going, interesting thing. I think he was trying to have an aha moment where he caught Deepak, who has a belief that we should not have any beliefs. And he thought maybe he caught him, but he missed the point completely. It's about attachment to beliefs. We can have beliefs, but when you are attached to one, you are setting up tremendous suffering. And here's where the beauty of the whole thing came about. Deepak, in that moment, simply remained silent. He didn't need to embarrass this man in front of everybody. He didn't need to steal his moment of righteousness. Oh, I showed that guy, look at me. He didn't need to take that away from him. He simply remained silent. And right there, in that moment, I was like, what a beautiful gift of compassion. This is what we're talking about. Being generosity, not being generous. That subtle difference. So, although giving for the purpose of helping others is an important part of the motivation and the joy of giving, the Buddha considered giving for the purpose of attaining enlightenment as the highest motivation. For this purpose, one gives gifts to adorn and beautify the mind. Among these adornments are non-clinging or non-attachment, loving kindness, concern for the well-being of others. You see, we are the fruits of our practice. So how does this play out now in our daily interactions? Now we get to the rubber meets the road, right? The holidays bring some particularly interesting opportunities to cultivate the Dharma. Ram Dass said that if you think you're enlightened, go and spend a week with your family. So realizing that not everyone is trying to wake up, can we give our dad space to simply be where he is? Can we give our annoying uncle all of his opinions about the world and love him without needing to argue or change him? Can we give our children room to make mistakes and find their own way? Can we give those in our family suffering from addiction presence and have compassion for their suffering? And can we smile through the judgments and the barbs of our bloodline without our own blood boiling? Do not misunderstand me. Our practice is not about being a doormat or tolerating abuse in any way, shape, or form. Our practice is about speaking our truth. If someone says something hurtful, then we can simply remain in our truth and say, ouch, that really hurt me. Don't need to say anything else, because anything else is just trying to start a fight or a debate. If they truly care about you, and then you let them know that that hurt, then they have an opportunity in that moment to say, well, I didn't mean it that way. And then maybe you can have a real moment together where we talk about our feelings instead of all the gobbledygook that's in our heads. Highly ancient Tibetan term, gobbledygook. So it's about speaking our truth and staying in that moment. It's not about putting forth our own opinions and ideas. Now, I know that there are many of us in here who are very socially active, who are, the first ones to be at a protest or a march if it is something that is important to you. And nothing about that changes. But when we look at the tenets of wise speech, the Buddha said wise speech, which is one of the Noble Eightfold Path that we are on, the three tenets of wise speech are, is what you're about to say the truth? Is what you are about to say, is this the time and the place for it? And finally, can they hear you? Jesus said, do never place pearls before swine. The Buddha said in wise speech, can they hear you? In that moment, if you are practicing deep listening and you say something like, ow, that really hurt me, and you see them actually trying to backpedal and go, well, I didn't mean to hurt you, I didn't mean it that way, then you have an opportunity to have a conscious conversation with somebody about our feelings and about what our values are and what's important, which is different than a debate of egos. Egos love to dance because, you see, egos are not real, so therefore they need something to bounce off of so they can feel real. So this holiday, when someone offers you an opportunity to dance, ooh, let's debate, let's argue because it really feeds my pain body, you don't have to dance. You can simply be present and allow the most kind and compassionate thing that you could say in this moment to diffuse anything like that to come up. Maybe it's a compliment of what they're wearing, or maybe it's, I would love to have that discussion with you, but maybe not here and not right now. Let's do it over coffee sometime. And bring compassion into this. In this way, we give ourselves the freedom from conditioned patterns of speech and behavior, from reactivity. We find liberation from idealism, wanting Uncle Billy to be more the way he is in my head instead of the way he really is. Accepting him exactly as he is in this moment. That's that idealism, right? So giving us freedom from that. Cultivating wisdom that comes from the awareness and helps us to cultivate and be equanimous in every moment, in every interaction, seeing the light of who they are, even when they themselves cannot see their light, do not know who they really are. We know who they are because we know who we are, and they are not separate. This is how we wake up. This is how we radiate peace in our hearts out into the world, for the world. And like a match that loses no light in the lighting of others, we awaken the world, one person at a time, by being true to ourselves and being aware of what is arising in this moment. So I'd like to close with this little poem that I found for us to play with. It's called Two Turkeys. We have two turkeys at our house because Mom and Grandma fight. Neither one of them believes that the other one's cooking it right. There are also two stuffings, two of homemade berry sauce. Let's face it, there are two of each because both of them think they are boss. We try to eat it all. We do the best we can. We eat a little from both in order to be nice. We also make sure that when we burp twice.